Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Victoris Rivals series. And is this the first time? I mean, I guess it is now that I'm the producer here at VRS. We have the full crew, the real VRS crew, me, Shogun, Cogman, the crew that steered you through spring and summer, reunited for fall in the last week of the regular season, boys. How are we feeling about our final matchup of the split here?
I was doing great, and then I looked at the patch notes, and now I'm not doing great.
Why is that, Shogun?
These are
There's
the
a lot of
best
things
patch
wrong.
notes.
Yeah, everything is good now.
I mean, don't you
just
want
to
that
give
in
you
a
an
game?
idea of how I feel about the patch notes, I read this first sentence of the Nunu change, and it says, "Turns out AP Nunu is real, and he can hurt you. We're giving
Yep.
AP Nunu some more strength." What?
You think
That doesn't
that's
make
bad?
any
Read the
sense.
Blitzcrank changes, my friend.
I don't wanna.
Blitzcrank Jungle is viable now. It'll be even more viable after the preseason changes on PvE, which I've been playing for the past couple days. Super fun time. Kongman, I know you're excited about some changes in particular. We'll get to them, but before we do, how are you feeling tonight, my friend? How are you doing?
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were talking to me. Sorry, I got distracted by chat. I'm doing pretty good. As you mentioned, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about these patch notes.
Indeed,
I see someone in chat asking Shyvana cosplay when. Might be working on that.
Perhaps we would have to
I might be
look.
looking at a wig over there.
Kongman is the cosplay guy. Both of you are cosplay guys. I'm not really a cosplay guy. Sometimes I do really elaborate Halloween costumes that are basically cosplay, but I've never just like well, actually no, that's not true. I went to a Star Trek convention when I was 13, and my mom hand sewed me like a perfect recreation of one of the uniforms from one of the movies. Found the pattern online and stuff. That's the only cosplay I've ever done. That was fun. But that's even dorkier than cosplaying League of Legends, cosplaying Star Trek. That's like the OG dorky cosplay. So, you know, maybe I have some cred there. At any rate, we've got some games to play tonight, gentlemen. We've got two teams coming in. It is Degenerates Exiles versus Dorado Gaming Sigma. And if we take a look at the standings here, we can see the Sigma males are standing on top of those standings, 5-1. But Degenerates Exiles, they find themselves in a little bit of a pinch here, Kongman.
Yeah, unfortunately, with them being tied for fourth, their playoff series is kind of near an end here. I mean, there's still a chance with tiebreakers, and like TMG could lose, Telebi could lose, and they could potentially sneak in that 12th place playoff spot. But Dogs is looking to get the victory here, to secure first place.
Yeah, definitely are, and we are looking at these teams that do stand in front of them as well. You see the likes of Mint Gaming near the top alongside Dorado Sigma, the new Dorado dogs on the block, so to speak here, Shogun, coming in and replacing Zeta, maybe literally, but not in our hearts. Rest in peace, Z-Doggies. But they have just been real good all split. And do you think that if Degenerates Exiles do make playoffs, they have the chance at a deep run here? Or is the talent wall near the top of the group just a little bit too much for them to really compete?
I mean, the talent just looks way too good at the top of this group specifically. I do kind of forget like what the other groups are looking like, but I do remember some really good teams for what it's worth. So it all depends on what I see tonight, though, because I feel like if Degenerates Esports Exiles could, like, you know, if they beat Dorado Gaming Sigma, obviously you show a lot of life there, and it's not like you could say, oh, well, Dorado Gaming isn't really playing for anything today. They are playing for something. They're playing for first place. So an upset would actually mean something to them. They're going to be playing their hardest. Not to say that they wouldn't be regardless, but Degenerate Esports, you know, if they do squeak out that win, there's really there's no excuses that the other side would be able to make, or every other team looking in on that situation would all of a sudden have to be pretty scared of a team that could take down a big dog like that.
Yeah, a big dog like that.
Yeah, the big thing is they've clinched playoffs. This is just a matter of if they want to get that round one bye in playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes playing that round one can be beneficial, right? Keep your hands hot, don't skip a beat, give yourself a little bit of a warm up. If you're coming in as a second seed out of Group C, you're going to be matched against one of the lower seeded teams from another group, so it's not likely that you get upset. Although last year in VAS playoffs, we did actually see a number one seed upset by a fourth seed, so it can happen from time to time, but that just goes to the relative strengths of the groups. Right now, we have the prediction race to talk about at the end of our pre-show because we've been tracking it all split long, but we don't want that to be the spoiler here, so we're going to do predictions a little bit early tonight. So, gentlemen, we know that Degenerates is fighting for their playoff lives. That gives them a big spark, something to really fight hard for here tonight. I'm curious if that's influenced anybody's predictions. I gotta tell you, it has not influenced mine. I got Dorado. Ignore the fact that that's Zeta's logo. Send me Sigma's logo. But I got Dorado coming in tonight. Shogun, who you got?
I gotta say, I have the same exact thought process as you. I do like the argument that yes, Degenerate Esports Exile would be, play with a little bit more urgency, and I think that would give them the edge if Dorado was playing for nothing. If there was no team that could possibly, upset them for that first place spot or like replace them, but they are like mints on their heels, right? So they actually do have to. This is still not a must-win game, but it's still an important win to have, and it's enough to where the dogs shouldn't be, just
They're not
taking this
slacking.
game lightly. Exactly. So I do think that they're gonna win, but I do think they'll win. Actually, yeah, I'll say they'll win in a nice 2-0 quick fashion as well.
I hope it's a nice quick 2-0. I'm home by myself this week. It's very spooky and fall-like outside. I want to sit down, watch some horror movies, enjoy the ambience, the leaves all about outside. I don't know if that's an experience you get to have in
No.
Florida.
No.
Yeah.
There are no seasons here. There's summer, and Christmas.
Nice. Kongman, you have been a picker of underdogs in the past. You have been a bit of a wild man with the predictions. Tell me, though, do you have the faith tonight in Degenerates Exiles? Have you gone outside the curve?
Here's my breakdown. So Dogs has to play Degenerate. Degenerate needs a win to potentially get playoffs. Dogs is already in playoffs. Dogs is trying to get that first seed. Mint is playing against Telebi, who also needs to win for a chance at playoffs. The people right above Degenerate. And Mint is also trying to get that win for the first round bye. So honestly, like all four teams that I just mentioned are going to be playing their hearts out because everyone else in Group C is kind of eliminated. Play better. And so like I love Degenerate, and Dorado is definitely not standing behind my computer. Dorado 2-0.
Oh man, it's a clean sweep on the desk tonight. Not much differentiation for those standings of the prediction race, so we will get to those at the end of the pre-show, give you a nice little update on that. But before we do, we've got some nice stuff to talk about here tonight, guys. Starting off with some of the capstone sort of champions over the course of this VRS split. As we approach the end, we get a look at the highest presence picks with at least 5 games played over the course of the fall split here. And Shogun, do any of these picks jump out at you and scream, this is really the story of the VRS, this split?
Story of the VRS? I don't know about that, but like just story maybe the Sivir having a 68% win rate. I feel like from past games, if you saw Sivir, it was a pretty high likelihood, especially with the way the VRS teams like to fight. They like to fight around a lot of objectives, and when Sivir was like really strong towards the earlier part of the split, I feel like Sivir was just dominating those games. I think honestly, a 54% presence is a little shocking. I thought it would be higher than that. I thought it would be the highest ADC, honestly, but seeing as that is more towards the Seraphine Misfortune. Seraphine more so because of those bans. Misfortune was actually strong for different reasons in different parts of the split, right? The first half, it was that, lethality, Arcane Comet build that you would use to poke out your enemies in lane and then just start blowing people up with your ultimate. And now we kind of transitioned to that classic Misfortune build where you take press the attack, you build crit, and every other part of your kit does a lot of damage instead of that ultimate, which still is able to pack quite the punch, but you are more of that like hyper carry style ADC instead.
Yeah, that is the evolution that has come in with that little mini update that Misfortune did get towards that DPS style that you point out. So Sivir kind of falling out of the meta, Misfortune ascending. Seraphine, as always, the Sarah Queen of Victoris, is always going to be hanging around. Now, Kongman, some of the champions I see here are Hecarim and Trundle. Those are junglers to be feared and respected for sure, but we have a bit of some fresh news here, fresh and hot on 12.18, day 2, or 12.19, I should say, of the new patch. Do you want to explain to me what went down?
Tell you, Shyvana got buffed.
Woo!
And I don't mean, oh, here's like one extra point of damage on like her W. No, like uber buff. Like, god damn.
Yes,
I
yes,
immediately
indeed.
went in like look at this. Look at her W burnout buff. Like I read this and I went, this makes jungle clear so much faster. Like 0.25% bonus AD for the on-hit magic damage doesn't sound like a lot, but that stacks up after a while. But you guys think
sure.
the W is bad. Look at the E. Look at the E. Look at all that.
Wait, they nerfed the max health damage, though.
They nerfed the better part.
Yeah,
no,
that's fine. But look at that AP scaling. 90% AP.
They buffed the bad part.
AD?
They buffed the bad part. They're actually making. Why?
Oh, this is good. I actually played a game of this like as soon as
terrible.
I saw it.
No, they buffed the. Oh my god, they buffed the dragon form.
That's what I'm.
Okay,
this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it was like bad before and they made it good now. No. It was like really good before, but they like AP was like the unskilled version of Shyvana, and they buffed it. They did it. They made it.
Shogun,
no,
big
so
fireball, go boom, dopamine.
Shogun. You want to complain about this? Well, let's look at her ult though. Her ult got buffed too. Yes, sir. Look at that AP ratio buff.
Why did they buff this build? Why didn't they make the better build cooler? They could have made like
because they said tank build was already so relevant. AP was not seeing enough play.
That's wild.
Because now you can go Shyvana R-E. Oh, the team is dead. Carry potential. We're so good. I love gamer language. I love Shyvana.
Gamer language, indeed. Kongman, do you think that these Shyvana buffs should have an immediate impact on the meta of the VRS here in our final week of the regular season? Where do you want to see Shyvana played? Top lane, jungle? What's the tech?
Jungle.
You could play Shyvana mid with these changes. This is disgusting.
Listen.
This is awful.
Listen. Shyvana right now has been picked 8 times in the VRS.
Yes.
She's currently 1-7 overall because people are stupid.
Louise.
People are stupid and throw her in the top lane, and I don't know why. Listen, I'm sure Dorado is in chat. If you pick Shyvana, lock her jungle, go AP, you will 2-0 in like 20 minutes.
That actually might be true.
I legitimately played a ranked game last night, which is something I never do. We ended in 22 minutes.
Disgusting.
I went 8-2-9.
Well, there you have it.
Got Baron at 20 minutes.
That's the Shyvana changes. That is certainly something. Whether it's something good is left to be examined.
Oh no,
gentlemen, we have another hopeless battle to check in on. We've got the prediction race coming in hot, and nothing's gonna get too differentiated here tonight. And because each of us has missed some time here, we're all coming in, including Becky Reed, our unofficial 4th crew member of the Victoris Rival Series. We're all coming in with the same prediction tonight. It's going to be based on win rate percentage, right? So I'm 2 for 3 right now, so I'm at a 66% win rate. Shogun is 3 for 4 right now. He is at a 75% win rate. Kongman is at a 50% win rate, 3 for 6.
This feels unfair.
Okay. Think about it like this though. If I had one more L, right now I'd be at a 50%. Where
Yeah.
and I would only have 2 losses, and you have like 3. So like
yeah,
it evens out. Percentage
Indeed.
makes sense.
Indeed.
Becky
Becky
just
is
wins.
killing it. I'm not great at math, so 5 of 6 right now. That's 6 doesn't divide cleanly into 10. It's better than any of us are doing. Becky is the VRS oracle right now with the predictions, and it's not getting too different coming on in, as we have another not correct Dorado logo in this prediction graphic. Why do you have
the only one they gave me?
Why do they have so many teams, man? You know how many letters there are in the Greek alphabet? Like 20. It's disgusting.
That's how many teams they can have.
Oh, there's no need for it. But yeah, that's everything to get caught up on here. So while we are waiting for the players to come on in for Champ Select, they are still filing into that lobby before we get started here tonight. We can talk a little bit about some things we don't have graphics for, but are big changes on 12.19. Kevbo and I talked this to death on VAS last night. Blitzcrank Jungle, baby. It's viable. Look out for it. There are a couple of builds. There's a burst build with Proto Belt and Shadow Flame. There's an on-hit fighter build with Trinity Force and Nashor's Tooth. There's a tankier fighter build with Sunfire. You can do any of the Sunfire mythics and like a Nashor's Tooth or a Blade of the Rune King. The exact changes for those who are unaware. W active portion now adds on hit damage as well as the active attack speed. So that's 1% max HP magic damage on hit with your W, which is even higher against jungle monsters. And your E now does 150% base AD, I believe it is, to jungle creeps, so your clear is actually really strong as long as you stay away from those multi-camp camps, those multi-creature camps, I should say, until post 6, when you do have your ultimate passive that gets your lightning down onto them, allows you to keep your jungle item ticking, bring that healing in. Otherwise, you're kind of lacking the AoE, but you start your blue side, you start your Gromp and your blue, you finish Wolves, you have enough damage there to hit level 3, and then the ganks are nasty. You can go Predator, you can go Lethal Tempo, it's really mix and match. It's very versatile, you can do a lot of things, and it works, and it's very annoying, and I hope we see it in VRS here tonight, guys. Sounds absolutely disgusting.
You know what else is disgusting?
What's that, Cogmad?
Nunu go burr.
No, not Nunu.
Yes, Nunu buff.
What did they do to the boy?
Increased his ultimate AP ratio from 250% to 300%.
I mean, his ultimate AP ratio was already pretty crazy. Like, if you get, like, a classic, like, Fnatic Nunu brush off, it already does a ton of damage. To me, that feels like a placebo just to get people to play more. Because if you guys remember, like, back at the end of Season 9, early Season 10, Faker was spamming AP Nunu mid. Because you can push the casters level 1 with 1W and then roam. And, like, it's impossible to dodge a Nunu roam because of the way Snowball works. Like, if you know your limits and you start getting it channeled correctly, like, if the opposing bot lane's pushed up, they're dead. So, like, it's always been good in solo queue, the AP Nunu in the mid lane. So this feels like Riot just saying, like, we know this strategy's good. We want to see more people playing it. Go ahead. We're giving you a treat. Now your ultimate will make them extra dead. Shogun, anything, you were talking about something before we came on the show that you are going to be abusing, that you were very upset about. This patch in general seems to have perturbed you. You want to tell us about
it's all awful.
A dog that
terrible.
Is not Dorado, that might be a little bit better?
I mean, like, just how broken is Nasus W now? Like, it was already pretty good. And, like, it was good situationally, right? Where you could play Nasus support into something like Kalista and Zeri, and it would, like, completely demolish their kits. To give you an idea, it's now, instead of a 50% movement speed slow, it's a 75% movement speed slow. So now, if you play Nasus into those two champions, it's, like, unplayable. Like, there's no world where you can actually play the game.
Wait, so it's 75% level 1 now? Because it scales up to 99%, right? It's a scaling thing?
Maybe.
75% level 1 is insane.
That's what I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And then the attack speed slow goes from a maximum of 47.5%, and the maximum is now 71.25%, which that's also, see, this is, now you see the issue with W, or like maxing the W, is like now it's good into every ADC.
Yeah, blind Kalista is completely dead. Like, Kalista needs to permaban Nasus now, and Emax Zillion has been popular in the support role for a while, because that's a 99% movement speed slow. that don't have an attack speed slow. I mean, that's absolutely wild to me that they are allowing that to occur. As it does look like the player R's are coming through. We'll be ready for draft in just a second here. Huzzah, huzzah. But yeah, that Nasus news, that is less than ideal for a variety of reasons. Going to be banning that out a lot. But you know what we can cover next week? I will briefly tease for now. You think Blitzcrank jungle and Nasus buffs and all this stuff is bad now. Preseason's making jungle easier to clear. It's making the jungle accessible to basically any champ. So get ready for, 99% or 75% movement speed slow, level 1 Nasus jungle, just Predator run at you, never die, full clear easily. It's going to be pretty scary stuff. But gentlemen, we have a draft ready to go. We are ready to get into game 1. I will see you guys for the post show. I've been Infinite Dodge. Have a great night of games. It's the final week of the regular season. Take it away!
Alrighty, Dodge. Thank you so much. As we are, in fact, getting into the draft with Degenerate Exiles, going ahead and starting us off on the blue side, Dorado Gaming Sigma on the red side, and we'll see what each side wants to ban. Something that we didn't really touch on that I kind of wanted to mention is how much Aatrox we've seen in competitive lately. And I'm wondering if either team is going to go ahead and try to get their hands on that champion, because I think that's one of the most broken champions in the game right now.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree that Aatrox is definitely up there as one of the most broken champs. And also, it's just a good blind pick if worse comes to worse. Like, if you're forced to pick top lane before your opponent, Aatrox is just that conservative, safe pick you have.
I even think it's a champion that can be B1. If you look at like what all the world's teams are playing, a lot of them are playing that Aatrox, and they are picking it very early on in the draft. I think that was like kind of the story of the series between RNG and DRX. That was a big part of it. It seemed like DRX just didn't want to ban the Aatrox, and RNG got their hands on it and just like kind of wiped the floor with their opponents. So if you wait, there's a no ban. I'm wondering what the ban is for the side of Sigma. I see. So what's actually happening is Dorado is on the blue side, Degenerate Exiles is on the red side. Graphic is swapped right now, getting that fixed at the moment. So Degenerate were late to the lobby, so they have to give up their first ban. Exactly what they did. So we'll be seeing the correct way around here. So that makes me think, honestly, Dorado Gaming Sigma might make the decision to go ahead and first pick that Aatrox. I would be shocked if they didn't. Graves, of course, also a champion we've been seeing a lot of in Champions Queue. And solo queue tearing it up there as well. And instead, she had Dorado Gaming Sigma going ahead and locking in that Hecarim. Very strong champion, must say. It's still broken. The nerfs from last patch did not do enough to the champion. I mean, it still played a lot in competitive. And we're going to be seeing it again here. And there we go. Everything's swapped back over. No.
What I like to see.
Oh, no. Okay,
Alright.
Sejuani is strong, though. I've got to say. But
Yes.
anyway.
I love how for the longest time, Shogun, I was hyping up Sejuani. You're like, oh, Sejuani bad. And then recently in Worlds, you just see nonstop Sejuani. It feels good.
I thought Sejuani top was good. I wasn't like huge on Sejuani jungle, but I think it's like the fact that you can affect the lane so easily, I think is a big part of it. And Kaisa is a pretty good ADC to pick with that Hecarim. I do like that so far. It also takes away the other team, is picking Nautilus. Kaisa is a pretty strong ADC to pair with that support. Not like there's no other champion that you can play. There's plenty of other options, but so far Dorado Gaming Sigma looking like they have the better draft. Of course, it is still very early. Excited for what they are going to pick next. Maybe we'll see a Shyvana top. Would love to see Shyvana top, and so they go ahead and lock in that Leona. Another champion that can hit the go button alongside that Hecarim. Makes playing into it not so fun for Degenerate Exiles.
Shogun, I see you've gotten closer.
I got closer, I guess. I don't know what happened.
Alright. So we do have the Sejuani on the side of Degenerates, which is the flex towards top or jungle. So if Degenerate wants to be the better team, this is where they lock Shyvana jungle, put Sejuani in the top lane. Smile, because Dorado decided to lock Resident Sleeper Hecarim.
It seems like both teams just kind of looked at, all right, guys, what are all the teams in play-ins playing right now? And then they took that and they were like, all right, guys, that's going to be what we play. Because this is just a comp straight out of Worlds at this point. It's honestly a little disappointing that they're not trying anything a little spicier than this. They're both kind of playing it by the book, and assuming that these players are like comfortable on champions, that's all well and good. But I would rather see some pocket picks come out as well. That is the difference, right, between leagues like this and leagues like or like professional leagues is that you can get away with playing something that you're more comfortable on, even if it isn't like a SZ tier champion, right? You can get away with playing like a C or B tier champion and have it be just as effective because you're so unbelievably comfortable on that champion. But instead these teams just trying to play what's strong right now, which isn't the incorrect idea, right? It's still completely fine, but maybe a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, we are going to be seeing the Kennen picked up for Degenerate, which Kennen's kind of that one top laner everyone seems to forget exists until he gets locked against you, and you're like, oh yeah, I have to remember what he does. And the next thing you know, you're stunned for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, Kennen is not the most fun champion to play into, but when it is a blind pick, it does give you an option. I'm gonna go ahead and lock in the Ornn, which is a little brave. I think I just saw a game where Lorlo was playing Ornn into the Kennen of T1 Zeus, and that was not close. It was not a good time for the Ornn, as one might expect. As Fizz is being hovered, I don't think that'll get locked in. It's okay with the composition that they have so far, but something like the Ahri makes a lot more sense here. I would actually, if Orianna was like a good champion, I think that would be pretty Exodia for this comp. I think it would be unbelievably strong, but Ahri's probably just, a lot more lane dominant, a lot more safe to go ahead and blind pick because there's not a lot of things that are going to be super good into it. You've already gotten rid of Talia, you've gotten rid of Lissandra, so makes Ahri a very safe blind pick indeed. But then you pick something like Vex, and you have drafted yourself a rather good dive composition from the side of Degenerate Exiles.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Dorado's team. I do like the Vex pick that Degenerate picked up, but I think Silas would have also been a very good viable option. Looking at the potential ults you could have stolen off his Sigma. Maybe Sovereign doesn't play a lot of Silas, which is 100% understandable. But honestly, seeing all the Silas play in Worlds right now reminds me just how good he is.
Yeah, Silas is a pretty solid champion, especially if you do have those ultimates to take. And I think every ultimate here is, pretty playable. The only one I could think of is like maybe Kai'Sa's not that good. So you have to wait for someone to apply. But you have like so many champions on your team who can apply CC and give you the opportunity to go in. So actually, looking at it, I think every single ultimate would have been like perfectly fine for Silas to take, and not even perfectly fine, but really valuable. So maybe a missed opportunity there. I still think Vex fits with the composition as well. And this is where I start talking about like between like champions that are really good and champions that you're more comfortable with. If you're comfortable on the Vex and you feel like you could, take over the lane, take over the game with the Vex as opposed to the Silas, you should pick the Vex. 9 times out of 10 in those situations, right? So excited to see what Sovereign can do on the Vex, especially into what I imagine is a solid matchup for him into the Ahri.
Yeah, definitely have to agree with you there. And just kind of taking a look around, so we are going to be having Kennen top, Sejuani jungle, Vex mid, Tristana ADC, Nautilus support. Seems like a pretty decent standard composition. For the side of Dorado, we are going to be having Ornn top, Hecarim jungle, uh, Ahri mid lane, and then Kai'Sa Leona in the bot lane. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that Kai'Sa this patch did get a very tiny buff. Very, very tiny, as in a 1% per 100 AP on her passive. That was her buff. They put her from plus 5% to plus 6. So we'll see
Yeah.
if that actually matters.
Yeah, I honestly thought it would be if they were gonna buff Kai'Sa, it'd be a bit. It would have like a bit more substance to it, but that's just not the case. It really doesn't feel like it's gonna hit as hard. I would have liked to see, more AP scaling maybe on the W, bring back that AP Kai'Sa mid if you were going to like try to make AP Kai'Sa viable again. I think you gotta look more towards the W than the passive. Personally, I think a little bit more damage on the passive is like all well and good, but it's nothing crazy.
Well, you're in
Or
luck, Shogun, because the patch note stated we're giving her AP builds some strength in a way that won't lead to her W spamming ways again.
okay, see that's not what I want though. That's W spamming ways is the good version of this. All you have to do is dodge one Kai'Sa W, and it's like fine for a little bit. You can like breathe. Now, if the Kai'Sa hits like 5 Ws in a row, your team is dead. Like you've probably lost like 2 of your squishies if 5 Ws have hit, and you're running for the hills screaming. And a sixth one is on the way, like 5 seconds after the last one. So it's like that's where the build becomes a little obnoxious, but it's like just like get better. Just like move out of the way out of the W.
I definitely have to agree with you there. So honestly, looking at the team compositions, I know we all sided with Sigma for winning this match, but who do you think won the draft?
I actually think it's really hard to tell. I think both team compositions are very good at what they do. I will say I think Degenerate Exiles just barely end up winning the draft just because Sigma doesn't have like that super strong team fighting mid laner, more of like a pick oriented mid laner. And then the only reason I would say Ornn is bad here is the ultimate is more useful for disengage or follow up engage. But then you look at that second part, follow up engage. You look at who you have to start the fights. You have a Leona, you have a Hecarim, so it's perfectly viable to pick him here for that reason. And having someone who can also be a strong disengager is very important as well. It gives your team composition a little more versatility. Then you look at Degenerate Exiles, and they are pretty heavily all in on that backline diving composition. Get in, kill the squishies, and get out. And that's what I'm excited to see from them. And I think because they have such a defined, win condition for the team fights, it'll make their jobs a lot easier in like pulling off those team fights. But that's a double-edged sword as well. The other team also sees or should be able to identify that win condition in the team fights. And if Dorado Gaming Sigma is the better team, they'll be able to play around it a little bit easier with their versatility. This all being said, though, because the Degenerate Exiles is a little bit more simple to pull off, or it has a a more clearly defined win condition for the fights, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Degenerate Exiles.
Well, it will be interesting to see who has the clear fight, the clear winner of fights, I should say. Wow, I am stumbling over my words. I'm going to go and attempt to collect and find my words as we will throw to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Game 1 of Dorado Gaming Sigma versus Degenerate Exiles.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to game number 1 of the series between Dorado Gaming Sigma and Degenerate Exiles. On the blue side, we have Dorado Gaming Sigma, and on the red side, we have Degenerate Exiles. And as you can see, there was a bit of a botched invade. They went through the mid lane. Hot take, I think if you're going to invade in a competitive game, I think going through mid lane is actually one of the worst places to go. Because if the team is 5-pointing, you will get spotted about every single time. If you're doing solo queue, go through mid. Half the players don't know about it, especially if you're like gold or below. They don't know. Yeah, I'll even like extend that to platinum below. No one watches mid. No one 5 points in those elos. Only time people like start 5-pointing is like, you know, very rarely in gold and plat, and then diamond it's a lot more regular.
Yeah,
But
it's so funny watching the lower ranks, especially
Yep.
whenever you watch like the ADC and support just sit next to the buffs, and it's
Awful.
like, bro, go 5
Terrible.
point, and then they sit there and they're like, yo, how did we get invaded?
I think my biggest like pet peeve when I'm playing like support or ADC is I will go to one jungle entrance and I will ping the other jungle entrance, and the whoever I'm laning with will just follow me and sit in the bush, and it's like, all right, clearly you don't know how to watch the jungle entrance. It's like one of the most simple things you could do. Like you just like haven't bothered to learn why this is a bad idea. It's like you should get invaded once and you go, how do I never have that happen again? And some people just like go, well, the other team is they just cheese people. That's just messed up. Or the other reason that I think it's okay if you do that is if you're collecting Uber Eats or any type of food ever at your front door, or you need to go up and get something, or you need to use the bathroom. Yeah, I could understand sitting in lane or something. Then you're valid. I get that.
Yeah, it's like the few times that I get filled into support, I always run bot, ward the bush, so that way they can't run up and cheese us. And then my ADC is always like, my support is wasting my time. He is throwing. And I'm like, bro, shut up. Next time I won't ward any bush and you can face check it.
Yeah, gotta agree with that one. That is the best way to handle that situation. Talking a little bit more about the game, we do see each jungler actually pathing to different sides of the map. So Sejuani does want to try to play for this Kennen, you know, kill this Ornn, which is unfortunate because the Kennen is hard pushing this out pretty badly, and that's a big wave that's not even gonna crash. So at best, you're hoping to dive the Ornn, which I think is the best play if you could, like, you know, get a massive wave, crash it, kill the Ornn. I think that's what you need to be playing for right now. Whereas Hecarim is just playing for the easy gank on bot lane, because I think we're seeing Tristana and Nautilus push that one out. Now Sejuani going into the enemy jungle. Not going to find anything. Don't know what he expected. Doesn't seem to be going for his Krugs either. Maybe he is now. But I'm a little disappointed by the Sejuani's pathing. I think that was, you know, a completely viable thing to do, is go for that dive up in the top lane, kill Yorn. Just shows that they're not really confident in the ability of those champions, or maybe in their own abilities to, you know, make something happen there. Or at least blow the flash or something. But either way, we will see Sejuani go ahead and contest this Scuttle Crab. Actually manages to double scuttle the Hecarim, who just, instead of even bothering to collect that Scuttle Crab, just goes ahead and, you know, backs off after Krugs. And luckily for him, getting double scuttled, not as big of a deal as it once was.
Yeah, I remember back in the days of double scuttle, when it's basically you auto-win the game as a jungler. But we are seeing Hecarim starting to run back topside. He might take Grump and just potentially do another full clear if this Kennen will stay pushed up or not.
That was a ambitious jump from the Tristana, who did cleanse immediately, though, to make sure that she didn't die. Does get out of that situation. And I gotta say, I am very shocked that Sejuani was the one who ends up affecting the bot lane. You really thought that Hecarim would be the one ganking this lane, but somehow Sejuani is able to just walk all the way bot lane, clear out the Scuttle Crab, clear all vision, and, you know, get a rather effective gank off. You got rid of the Leona Flash, so makes that a very vulnerable target, even with that W being where it is right now. And we're going to see Sejuani just hover around in the bot lane, maybe look for a play should it be available. Instead is just going to narrowly dodge out the Hecarim. I think he has been spotted, though, so this is going to be a good opportunity for a counter gank as Hecarim is going, or maybe Sejuani doesn't know, and instead the enemy bot lane, or rather, her bot lane is just going to have to play safe, which is not good, because look where that wave is, not in a solid spot, but Hecarim finally shows his hand, and will be spotted out. Now, that shouldn't matter, though. Tristana and Nautilus should still not really be able to walk up to the wave, and Kai'Sa and Leona are kind of making sure of that one.
Yeah, I do want to point out how Rogue was actually doing a very good job to try and fake out the destruction of the ward, because it does give that brief little vision before it is destroyed. Because I was able to see Degenerate immediately question mark ping the Krugs, thinking that Hecarim did actually leave that tri-bush, so they have no idea where this Hecarim is.
They're about to find out, though. There
But
he
there.
is, as Sejuani will spot it out there. Sejuani is missing out on the top side of her jungle right now. However, she will go ahead and get on out of there. Should be pretty safe. Meanwhile, this wave is hard shoving under the tower of the side of Degenerate, and you would say that they could actually get a freeze off, but Tristana, with her E and the passive on the E, makes it pretty impossible to freeze waves. As now it looks like they want to fight for this. Unfortunately, Ratchet is going to miss that charm. The hook is going to swing wide as well. We want to keep fighting for this one. The dragon finally goes down. A bit of a late smite, or early smite rather. It doesn't matter too much, though. 3 members stuck in the pit. Ratchet, trying to get back over, is going to fail the plant, I believe. And that's going to be first blood going over to the Sejuani. Rogue is going to go down as well, but now finally Ratchet is back in the fight. Pog player also trying to pop off. That is a very low Tristana, but the Sejuani is going to help get the kill on to the Ahri. Now, Pog player has to try to fight back, has to try to kite away. So now on the offensive, once again, has that flash available to try to make a play. Nautilus is on the backside of this fight. Maybe they can use the bush. The flash was available. Pog player not going to use it. Pog player is going to go down. A complete misplay there, unfortunately, but I believe that's an even better play from the side of Degenerate with that Sejuani, with that Nautilus, with that Tristana, just absolutely making the dogs look like fools.
Yeah, Degenerate did unfortunately not get the first dragon of the game, but it is only Ocean Soul, which, I mean, it's kind of good for both of these scene compositions, but one doesn't prefer it over the other as much. But even though they did give it up, they did pick up 4-1 kills, which is honestly just really good for the side of Degenerate this early on in the game.
Yeah, and something I want to mention about that is I think if Kai'Sa's playing on land, surely able to flash away from that Sejuani. What I will say about that, though, is if it was like more of a conscious decision to not flash the Q, I think that is a very greedy decision. I actually think there's a world where you can get all 3 of them there, which is, this is the perfect world, right? Where you flash the Sejuani Q, get the kill on the Sejuani, and then you just use the rest of your cooldowns. I don't remember what the mana was looking like, so I don't know if the Q was really available. If there was no Q available, then maybe it wasn't actually doable. Just have to kind of reset after that one. But in like the perfect world for the dogs, the Kai'Sa gets a triple kill there, and it's like the most hype thing you've ever seen in your life. Unfortunately, that is not the reality we live in, and instead it is the more likely one where Degenerate Exiles go ahead and get 4 kills for their trouble. 2 kills onto the Tristana. They still want to be able to fight this, though. Ultimate is going to drop right onto the Tristana, but that bomb is ticking. There is the ultimate in from Pod Player. The shutdown's going to come through for Kai'Sa. Now, are they going to be able to get onto this Nautilus? Nautilus not allowed to move at all. Going to give the kill over to the Kai'Sa as well. A double kill for her. All of a sudden, has more kills, has more CS than the Tristana. Going to shove this wave under the tower as well. Deny so much money, so much experience. And as soon as they are able to, Dorado Gaming Sigma strikes back.
Yeah, it is still currently 3-4 in favor of Degenerates, but the dogs did collapse that 3,000 gold lead to only about 1,000 away now, just off of that Kai'Sa double kill.
Yeah, and I think that was honestly it was a scary play at first, because theoretically, Tristana should have been stronger. I mean, you look at how much money they had. Yeah, she was down about 15 CS at that point, right? But she had those 2 kills up on, 1 kill up on the opposing ADC. Their items are about the same, so Tristana shouldn't do more damage, because Kai'Sa's early game damage, not that great. Unless it's in those extended fights, and that's exactly what we had on our hands there. It was an extended fight, of course. Kai'Sa did get that, little tiny boost at the beginning as Leona's going to go in onto the Vex. The Vex is going to get charmed up, stunned up. Will she be able to move? The stun should come in again from the Leona. There it is, as here comes Hecarim to find the kill. Shouldn't even be needed. Ari's going to finish off that kill. Vex is taken down. Has cleanse available. Oh wait, no, sorry, that's Tristana. Who I was about to be very concerned, but I was looking at the wrong Yordle.
Yeah, but don't worry, it does appear that the bot lane was starting to float up towards the mid lane, are going to be going back down bot side. And it does appear that Dogs is going to be attempting to collect this Herald, and Sejuani, are you going to try and contest this?
Not after getting spotted, I don't think so. And honestly, I do not like the decision from Tristana and Nautilus to, even look at walking up there, right? I mean, that play is just absolutely dead. The only thing that you can really do is get to the Rift Herald and maybe contest it. But I think that's honestly a waste of time. Just kill the Kai'Sa while she's under tower. Because Leona's not there. You're Nautilus and you're Tristana. You should have the ability to find that kill. Yes, there is an exhaust on the other team, but you have cleanse and you brought that for a reason, right? Maybe for the stuns is a good reason to take it, but when you have that summoner up, all of a sudden your 1v1 power also becomes a lot more viable, and the dive potential is still allowed to be used as well. So it is just maybe, a lack of confidence there, maybe a lack of communication. But I really would have wanted to see that dive, maybe a little bit more proactive gameplay towards that bot side of the map after, seeing that the support was missing.
Yeah, I do respect the play of Degenerate having both the bot lane walk up to collect the scuttle since Sejuani was not available in the area, but hang on, there's a fight breaking out.
Yeah, nice flash hook to begin it off, but the ultimate is going to buy them some time. The flash forward gets the stun off onto the Leona, but there are 4 members here. That's a teleport from the Ornn. All of a sudden, they have bitten off more than they can chew. Degenerate's going to go down. 1 member gone, 2 members gone. Double kill for the Kai'Sa. Maybe even a triple. I think it just came through. Yes, indeed. And Dorado Gaming Sigma, 5 members in the bot lane will get a free dragon as well. Vex not even able to think about following on that one. Yes, Kennen does have teleport, but would have been teleporting into a terrible situation. Dorado Gaming Sigma, the gold isn't reflecting it, but they are slowly but steadily getting advantages across the map and are looking to take control of this game.
Yeah, I do agree. As we do take a quick look at the individual gold, you see the 1,000 gold lead from the ADC Kai'Sa on that Tristana. Just absolutely beautiful to see.
Almost all of the gold lead for the side of Dorado Gaming Sigma is, allocated into this Kai'Sa. It's about a 1k gold lead. But something interesting was that Kennen also had a lot of money compared to the Ornn, which I thought was weird. I feel like it shouldn't be that different. Maybe I saw it wrong. But it looked like Kennen was making a lot of cash there. Maybe I am wrong. Because looking at it, that should not have been the case, but we'll see. Oh, he has a Cull. Maybe that's where that's coming from. Not entirely sure. I thought I saw 1k gold lead, but that can't be possible based on what I'm looking at. Wait, how many plates did he get? Got 2 plates?
Yeah, 2 plates with a 1,000 gold lead and a fully completed Cull. I do believe that is adding up correctly.
Yeah, I mean, there's the 800 gold, I guess, but, like, their CS is so... in fact, Ornn has actually passed him in CS at this point. Now, I mean, of course, now it isn't that 1k gold lead. It's getting closer to, like, 600, 700. So, that is making a bit more sense there. As that completed Cull, a couple tower plates under his belt is pretty nice for that Kennen, especially someone who scales a little bit better, has to be doing at least, a bit more DPS than his opposition. Meanwhile, we do see the Scuttle Crab going over to the side of Dorado Gaming Sigma. They really shouldn't be losing out any of the neutral objectives for the next little bit here, especially with, as long as Kai'Sa's in the area. I think the idea of Degenerate Exiles contesting anything is not a good idea. It would be a very interesting decision to see them go for a play if Kai'Sa is a part of it.
Yeah, I do like the risky play of Sejuani invading Hecarim's jungle on the red side, because if you had any vision in your own jungle, that Sejuani would immediately be spotted out and collapsed on.
And that's why I honestly I personally don't like the play. I think he did sweep it, which makes it a lot more legal, so they knew that he wasn't there. Of course, he is going to get spotted out now by that sweeper, as now they're going to go in onto the Nautilus. Nautilus does use that stopwatch to stay alive for just a little bit longer, does not have flash to get away, and will get bursted down. Pocket player is going to pick himself up. Yet another kill. Tristana trying to survive under this tower all by her lonesome. Sejuani's going to have to start hovering now in the mid lane. That's going to be the flash forced out of the back. Charm is going to swing wide, will take a little bit more damage, and a bit more would have come through onto the Ahri, but she uses her ult to get away. Has no mana. It's going to have to reset here pretty soon.
Yep, Ornn is going to be floating back to the top lane to fight against the Kennen. And that is the first turret going over to the side of Dorado, so a nice another little bit of gold bonus for them. And Kai'Sa did get that tower all by herself, so even more gold into this Kai'Sa.
Yeah, pretty solid stuff from the Kai'Sa to be able to, get all that money for herself. And having that Kraken Slayer, Phantom Dancer, and Zerker Greaves finished when all Tristana has is that Kraken Slayer is not looking too hot. I believe that is a Q upgrade as well as the E upgrade finish now. I could be wrong. She might need a little bit more attack speed to finish it on. Actually, she might need more AD to finish off her Q. I think Phantom Dancer gives her enough AD though. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong there. What kind of upgrade she has? Someone who's more familiar with the champion. Maybe we can actually check for ourselves. Who knows? As it's going to be a pretty awful time. Okay, so there's the Q upgrade as we can see on our screens. Had a feeling that one was good. I'm not entirely sure about the attack speed. I'm pretty sure that it's fine now. Might need a little bit more though. As yeah, if I'm Degenerate Exiles, I am terrified of Kai'Sa in any fight, and if I see her on the map, on my side of the map, I go, all right, we can't fight for this objective. But if I see her on the other side of the map, things become a little bit more free. As there, yeah, you can see the supercharge is in fact ready. So that is a Q evolve, E evolved Kai'Sa at 17 minutes into the game. Not very fun to deal with, as now we're going to see the ultimate drop down on to this Ahri. Ahri is in a terrible situation. Hook is going to swing wide, and with the Hex Gate, the Ahri should be able to get out of this one scot-free. So much was used to take her down. Actually, only really the Nautilus ultimate, which will be up for the next fight, possibly, unless the Dragon is started up sooner than later. With the Rift Herald going down, that is very likely. They just drop it mid, go ahead and get some priority there, and then you use that prio that they get in the lane to go ahead and take this Dragon.
Honestly, I could also see them just dropping the Herald mid and then just immediately abandoning it and going straight for Dragon. Or instead, they're just going to hang on to the Herald and go straight for Dragon.
It does seem like they're hanging on to it, which is a bit of a strange situation. Meanwhile, Ornn's going to go ahead and take this top lane tower, has that TP available to him. Kennen also has TP available if he wants to find a flank. I think that's their only real chance. Comes in so late, though. The Dragon is going to go down. Maybe they can find the fight afterwards. Ornn has that TP available still, but they know where the TP is coming from the side of Degenerate, so Dogs are just going to go ahead and walk on up. They use all those summoners for essentially nothing. Charm is going to land, forces the Sejuani to walk a wonky way, and that's going to be the Degenerates not really being able to find anything for their trouble.
Yeah, Ornn was patiently waiting in his top bush to see if there was actually going to see a fight break out, but hang on. Oh, this is not looking good for Kennen.
No, in fact, Dogs just strike back. They catch Kennen lacking, and they find that kill. And it's so disappointing for the side of Degenerates. I mean, none of this should be happening. You were the ones that were chasing them back, right? But of course, the Dogs are able to completely negate any sort of pressure that could have been exerted onto them just by running away. And then on top of that, add insult to injury, immediately turn around, get a kill right onto that Kennen, who was just trying to clear out some vision. Just not allowed to do that, good sir, as there are a lot of pick tools that the enemy team has.
Yeah, Dorado just has that power of luring enemies into a bad spot, bringing them into their own house, and then saying, look, dude, you're in the dog's house.
Yeah, they will, however, be able to pick up an objective bounty for free. So that's 250 gold into their pockets, which is, nothing crazy, but still a solid bit of money to try to get them back into this game. Maybe if they can collect a few more of those objective bounties, the game will become playable, but The Kaisa, I believe, is building an IE. Here comes the Tristana, maybe trying to find the play onto the Ahri. Ahri is going to, have that cleanse, or sorry, the Tristana is going to cleanse herself. I believe it might have been a little late as well. Ahri still has one more dash available, has the flash as well. As here comes Hecarim onto the Tristana. Tristana is going to try to fight back, gets dove, and Hecarim will be taking about negative damage for that play. Here comes Kennen into the mid lane, though, as now they're going to try to find the play onto the Leona. Teleport is coming through, though, from the Ornn. Ornn's going to use that Ornn Horn. Should get a 3-man knockup, more like a 2-man knockup there. As here comes the damage from the back. So they have no ADC, though, and that is so much damage that they're missing. Here comes the Hecarim on the flank, and Kaisa sees that as the go-ahead play, the go button, as they will wipe Degenerates off the face of mid lane, trying to make a proactive play, and just get smacked in the face because they just had no DPS.
Yep, and here we are starting Baron at just under 21 minutes, so it will be a pretty fast Baron. I do know last week we did have a 22-minute Baron, so this will be a contender for the fastest Baron in VRS. At least on stream that I know of. 21:15.
Baron will get taken down. The dogs are making a statement here in game number 1. And I think the biggest statement being made is the one by Pro Player. He had a bit of a misplay, maybe you could call it that, early on, that left his team being 1-4. But realistically, he was just making the enemy team worth a little bit more gold for when he could collect those shutdowns. And after that first play, in fact, he really thought that Degenerates would be able to, snowball the game from there, but just gets a little too overconfident in the bot lane and then gets immediately punished for that. And unlike their opposition, the dogs just never really let up after that.
Yeah, and as you said, that Kaisa put him in that 1-4 situation. One thing I do want to point out is dogs have 12 unanswered kills since that moment.
Yeah. No one has died since then. I didn't even realize that was true. That is just absolutely insane to see how well Dorado Gaming Sigma has played the rest of this game. I mean, they were down 1-4 and they did not let that affect them. They went into the rest of they just mentally reset and went, all right, guys, we are definitely the better players. We're not dying ever again. Maybe, though, they could die here, though, with how tanky Leona is with that W. That does not seem likely. Tristana's going to have to jump away, leaving their Nautilus to die. The Kaisa is going under the tower. The ultimate from the Tristana will save her own life. Flash finally comes through so that she may live, but Cannon will fall. So will the Sejuani very shortly. Triple kill for the Kaisa. Kaisa wants to go for a little bit more, but the Vex is out of there. And it is so difficult for Degenerates to play this game. It might even be looking like GG here. Next tower is under fire. The first inhibitor of the game will fall soon. Back coming through from the Hecarim just so he can get a little bit more HP. As they will go ahead, collect that inhibitor. Kennon's up in 13 seconds. The Tristana is here and ready to party. Nautilus is the one who respawned, but shouldn't matter too much. Instead, the dogs are just going to play it safe, not really go for that end, because there is a pretty important objective on the table, and that is the last dragon of the game, or at least the last normal one. They're going to go ahead and pick up Hextech Soul for themselves and be nigh unstoppable.
Yeah, especially now that Kaisa will have the Hextech Soul. Kaisa is officially now the raid boss of Dorado Gaming. Which, if you're on the side of Degenerates, you're just gonna sit back and you go, okay, what do we have to do? We were winning 4-1, and now they have 15 unanswered kills against us. How do we get back into this game?
So the only answer that you really have is to kill Kaisa, but your entire composition, right, was all about being able to dive the enemy team. When you fall behind on a composition like that, it becomes virtually impossible to play. Especially you look at what Dorado Gaming Sigma has, right? They have the perfect type of composition to kind of play into that diving style. I mean, they have the Leona to stop Tristana from being able to really do any sort of damage. They are going to be engaged upon. Pog player is going to be hit by that Nautilus ultimate. Here comes the Tristana, who just gets erased after trying to fight it. Kennen is going to use that ultimate a little bit early. Pog player is playing safe. Look at all that peel. That's what I'm talking about. No one is allowed into this fight. No one is allowed to touch this Kaisa. And as a result, the rest of them have to run for the hills. Pog player is going to go in immediately. Stopwatch out. Charm is going to land right onto the Vex. Vex is going to be taken off Summoner's Rift.
Now the Sejuani on 1 HP will be able to get away, and it looks like Dorado Gaming Sigma looking to end game number 1 here with a bang, maybe get a few more kills. Maybe they'll just go ahead and focus the Nexus. It looked like a rocky start, but ever since that rocky start, it has just been smooth sailing as Dorado Gaming Sigma easily take home game number 1.
Yeah, I do want to point out Dorado with 18 unanswered kills to finish off that game with a 11k gold lead. Absolutely beautiful for Dorado Gaming Esports.
Yeah, and at a certain point, I don't know when it happened. I was like really hyped for Dorado Gaming Sigma, but then the rest of it was just them pretty much taking easy control of this game. And I don't want to say it got boring, but I was waiting for Degenerates to make that play and try to turn the game on its head. But each time they tried, it just never happened. And Dorado Gaming Sigma would make an even better counterplay to that one and just wipe them off the face of the map. So, felt pretty impossible for the Exiles to ever really get something meaningful done. And that feels, as I said before, that feels absolutely awful when you're playing this type of composition, right?
Yeah, and obviously if you look stat-wise, Kai'Sa would probably be the MVP of game number 1. But as my runner-up vote, I do want to give my vote to the Mr. Bond Agent 007 Ornn in the top lane, going 0-0-7, getting the perfect TPs when his team needed it, getting the perfect knockups to help his team successfully find those kills. And honestly, it's not often you get to see a 007 on a scoreboard.
Nope. Would have been you always like to see, the perfect KDA, the 0-0 stat line when it's a support, but a supportive type of top laner, you're not really in the scenes of that either. Especially being able to end the game with a bit more money than your opponent. The Kennen was doing pretty well for himself in the top lane, but I mean the pressure of the Kai'Sa, looming from the bot lane just made it so impossible for the Kennen to play. Really felt like he was not allowed to have an impact on the game. But we'll see if that does change in game number 2, if they can, strike back, be able to actually, take an early lead and capitalize on it, or if Dorado Gaming Sigma are going to close it out in just as dominant of a fashion. We're going to find out very shortly, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to game number 2's draft of the day. We have Dorado Gaming Sigma on the blue side again, and Degenerate Exiles on the red side, I believe, unless that is incorrect. I think it's correct, though. Awesome, just got word that that is, in fact, correct. As we do have Misfortune getting banned away once again by Sigma. I don't know if the Degenerates get to get their first ban in game number 2 as well, or if it gets taken away. I believe it gets taken away, considering they banned nothing. As a Morgana is going to be banned away once again. Looks like it's going to be very similar bans as before. Maybe we see the Hecarim get taken off the table. Maybe not, though. Swain's going to go ahead and get banned away here. Same exact bans from Sigma. Not really shocking. They didn't ban Hecarim, and Hecarim's going to get locked in once again as the Kongman falls asleep.
I want Shyvana. She got buffed for a reason.
I don't think she's better than Hecarim. I must say, I think Hecarim is still a tad bit stronger than that champion.
After game 1, yeah, especially with the correct build, as our producer, Mr. Judge, said, here's my attitude. I don't think it matters after game 1 what Dorado picks. They just alpha Chad Degenerate.
I like the Kaisa pick to kind of counter it, and then I like Trundle as a counter to Hecarim as well. I think those are two strong deviations from what they originally had. Especially with how Degenerates might want to play the game a little bit more. I think scaling is definitely
or their angle, or they'll just lock in Vi. That's cool too.
Yeah, this is a definitely. I mean, I kind of enjoy Vi as a jungler, but late game you just kind of get dunked on.
So I think late game your identity actually changes a little bit more as Vi, especially if you don't snowball super hard. If you snowball super hard, you just click the ADC and your team can follow up with you. Just make sure you don't go too far in. I do think if you're more even or even falling behind, you're still useful. You just have to know how to play it. I think Vi is one of the best peeling champions in the game. Uh, that is like when I played on like season like 5 or like maybe it was like season 6. I was like hard stuck bronze, and I was like a Vi one trick, and I was like, how do I even play this champion? What am I doing wrong? And then I started playing for my teammates, and I was like, oh wow, this is the most broken thing I could be doing in my life. Playing for other people and not trying to solo carry a game. This is insane, and it worked really well, and it took me out of the hell that is bronze and into silver. So anyone who might be stuck down there, maybe try playing for your team. No one's ever going to tell you to do that. No one's ever going to tell you to do that because everyone's garbage. That remains true as it progresses. But sometimes, trust that your teammates might not be garbage. Play the game, maybe play the game correctly, and you might get rewarded for it.
It sounds like Shogun has had quite a few enters in his game recently, as we do see Aatrox getting locked into the top lane for Dorado and Degenerate counterpicking with the Gnar. Gnar's just kind of that all-around balanced top laner that everyone seems to pick if they just don't know what else to choose.
It's a good blind pick, or not even a good blind pick. I actually think they had counterpick. You see Aatrox there. I think, to me, picking Gnar shows that you don't really have the confidence to play the Fiora. One or two, you don't really think it's gonna fit with your comp well enough to pick Fiora, which I kind of respect that second part a little bit more. But if you pick the Gnar, you play for your team composition. It doesn't lose like super hard to Aatrox, assuming that Aatrox can't just run away with the lane. Because if you pick a champion where Aatrox can look at you and go, "You're dead meat. I'm going to murder you and your family until I can murder your family's family," then that's where things get kind of problematic, right? And so,
Yeah.
see, Dorado Gaming is just the Chad players, I guess. They are honestly drafting what could be considered Exodia very shortly with whatever. Yes! Do it!
Yes. Susan.
Who let the dogs out? Who?
All right.
Okay,
so
no, that's
here's
bad. That'd be lame. No one wants to see that.
our
see
producer
W.
is throwing some bad hot takes at us.
That's not even bad. That's what they're doing. That's the worst part. That's actually what they're doing. Sorry, we
And,
realize that you guys can't hear what happens. So if you want to explain what it is,
I do not want to repeat the words that our producer has uttered to us.
it's farming. It's clearly farming Nasus and like fasting Senna, which is it's not good unless you're like going to put 1 point into Q, not max Q, and then like max W first, which would be funnier. Like 10 times.
Don't
funnier.
even take E, just max W. Rush it.
The issue I have with that is that support Nasus is so much better in a world where you can like shred all this armor so easily. It's like I don't know exactly what this Nasus is gonna do. I don't even know what the correct choice would be in the situation when you do pair it with the Senna. But I am excited, and apparently they forgot to pick their last champion. It's not going to be shown, but it's Heimerdinger going to be what is picked up for R5 in the mid lane. There it is. I believe we filled it in ourselves, as it will be that's their choice to lane against the Silas in the mid lane.
Yep, Heimerdinger has been picked in the mid lane, so of course everyone send out your Gurf pings because the Heimer has been locked. Doing that real quick, despite him being on the other Victoris channel casting at the moment. I could see him abandoning ship of Valorant just to come watch Heimer being played.
It's going to be a way more hype game, I must say.
So, I mean, to be fair, League is more hype than Valorant.
I mean, no. Like objectively, no, but like biased, yes. Yes, I agree.
Objectively, yes, it is a lot more hype.
I don't know if that's true. Okay.
Listen. I've tried. Listen. I've tried to watch the pro scene of Valorant. This is all I see.
Okay.
We can't peek.
But rounds last 3 minutes in Valorant, and you're almost like you're likely to see 5 people go down in a round. So you're seeing. Let's do the math. Let's do the math on how hype Valorant is. So we'll say an average match is we'll put it around like 25 rounds. Times that by 3.
25. Wow.
So 25 rounds. And let's just say you're going to get 5 kills a round, right? That's 125 kills that you now we also have to factor in the fact that the cameramen are sometimes bad at their jobs. So we'll minus like 50 of those kills. So that's like at least 75 kills that you get to see on stream. In one map of Valorant. That's 75 kills. You know how many kills we saw in League of Legends just now? We saw a third of that.
And it was a lot more hype.
I don't know if that's true.
Okay. Which is more fun to watch? I correctly pointed my gun in the right direction. Oh, one shot.
Okay, but what
Or
if you correctly pointed your gun in the right direction and like did it 3 times in a row? Wow, that'd be crazy.
Our producer is mad because he does not play Valorant and does not have an opinion on this debate that he's telling us to move on from this. And he is now molding. He is now molding in my ear as we do have a completed draft. So looking at these matchups, Dorado has Exodia. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, I'd say so. Their composition is actually like awful to deal with, especially Silas being able to take Alistar ultimate. I think leaving Silas up with how strong he is and daring to pick Alistar was a pretty big oversight by the drafting of Degenerates. And then you look towards, the top jungle. Of course, you left Hecarim up. They're going to pick it. You're so unbelievably afraid of what this Graves, what this Swain can do, that you feel that you have to take those away. Even though you saw like that Hecarim popped off, I do like the idea that they pick up the Kaisa because of how hard Kaisa popped off. But let's be honest with ourselves. If Kaisa doesn't pop off in that game, I think the Hecarim is still allowed to run over everything else because of how well he was playing, the ganks and everything else all game long. So I'm a little bit worried for Degenerate's chances at winning this game because, especially when you also look at what their composition wants to do. Everyone in their team wants to dive once again, and we saw how well that went for them in game number 1. But then on top of that, I said everyone on their team. I meant to exclude Heimerdinger, because Heimerdinger does not want to dive people. Heimerdinger wants to be left alone while people dive onto him and just survive and chill out for as long as possible.
Yeah, I do have to agree with you there. Now, as we get ready to throw to a quick break, I still believe Dorado will 2-0 this. It's going to be a clear, easy victory. Do you have any doubt in your mind, or are you going to stick with Dorado?
No, I think Dorado clean sweep this one, but we will see if that rings true in a short little bit. But before that, we are going to go ahead and throw it to a break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to game number 2 of the series between Dorado Gaming Sigma and Degenerates Exile. On the blue side, we have Dorado Gaming Sigma, and on the red side, we have Degenerate Exiles. I am so excited to see this game number 2, especially with that Aatrox up in the top lane and that Nasus with teleport down in the bot lane with fleet footwork. That is normal Nasus. That is normal Nasus gaslighting us into thinking that he's like playing support Nasus. That is a lie. That is awful. That's terrible. Not as excited as I once was.
Yeah, I do want to point out that Degenerates has 1 teleport, while Dorado has 3 teleports. So Dorado is ready to be all over this map.
And they are definitely allowed to do so. As we will see how this one goes. I'm excited to see how the dogs play this one with that Nasus in the bot lane, who, you know, like I said, happens to be in the support position on your screens.
Yep, definitely will be interesting, as we are going to be seeing both junglers starting on their bot side, so they will be pathing top. Unless this Hecarim wants to do a weird 2-cam gank bot and then potentially invade.
Yeah, that would be I think that would be a little ambitious, a little not good. So we'll see how the farming goes to start this one out. Of course, yes, Nasus did in fact start that queue, so he can go ahead and start stacking on up. I don't hate this if the buffs were more directed towards Nasus's queue, which they weren't really. But it does allow the Senna, of course, when you do have someone else farming, all Senna has to really worry about is farming those souls off of enemy champions. And the wave is in such a good spot for Nasus to be allowed to hit the wave. I think the laning phase is going rather well for the side of Dorado Gaming Sigma.
Yeah, Dorado just CS-wise is looking pretty decent. Silas is struggling a little bit against Heimerdinger, but that's just the power of Heimer poke turrets. They're kind of annoying, and then late game they can get a little bit more annoying, but if you know how to counterplay it, Heimer just kind of stops, does nothing. We look at a very pretty cliffside real quick in the top lane as Aatrox is just dunking on this Gnar.
Yeah, Gnar not gonna have a good time. Forced to flash away. Here comes the Vi with a solid gank here. Hecarim is nowhere near to be able to help with this. The Aatrox is missing his Qs. If he can hit the sweet spots, it's actually doable. He flashes onto the Gnar. Gnar's gonna be the one who gets first blood with an Aatrox who gets a little too overzealous up in the top lane. Now Hecarim very late to the play. I actually love what this Vi did. You see she full clear her bot side. Completely skipped all of her top side ganks and just immediately ganks top and set or top lane camps, sorry, and immediately ganks top lane. Finds that kill onto the Aatrox. I absolutely love that. Hecarim, though, now that he has completed his clear, wants to try to force something on to this Heimerdinger. Heimerdinger is going to get flashed on and taken down. They're able to find a successful gank in the mid lane.
Yep, definitely a really good job there. And now that unfortunately since Heimer has died and Silas got the kill, Heimer is now behind, which is not something you want to see if you are playing the Heimer.
No, not at all. As futures market, a little funny there, as that will be Heimerdinger going into debt to buy an item. As we'll see what he's able to get done here. Meanwhile, the Gnar should continue to not have the greatest of times in the top lane, but, you know, having that sheen to use against his opposition does make things at least a little more funny for him. It's going to be a little annoying for the Aatrox to deal with, but I think his base stats are just too high for the Gnar to really deal with. As we can see here, sweet spots are getting hit, as Gnar not really having a good time here. Still getting hit by the minions in a very precarious situation now.
Yep, Heimer does go, not Heimer, sorry, Gnar does go low, does have to transform into Mega Gnar just for any chance to stay alive. Heimer is pushing up on the Silas. This is not a position Silas enjoys to be in.
No, Silas would rather be anywhere else, you'd have to imagine, as that's going to be a solid recall being stopped up there by the Kaisa. Meanwhile, we'll see Levi. I just got word Nasus is a beta and is maxing Q, which is not what you want to hear. Very unlucky. As long as he maxes W second, though, I think it's fine. Should have the experience to get there. And the amount of scaling that this team has, they should have no problem getting to that point in the game. But Degenerates Exiles are actually taking a pretty solid first step by taking down that dragon.
Yeah, they get their first dragon of the series, which is looking pretty good considering the fact it is a Hex Dragon. But wait a minute, this Nasus is now getting dove on by the Alistar.
Yeah, Nasa's going to take a lot of damage. Will be just fine for now, though. Going to go ahead and take some minions away. Is going to get hit up a little bit by that Kai'Sa there. Going to make it a little bit hard for him to keep playing the way, but he will be just fine for the time being.
Yep, and as we take a quick look around, we notice that CS is kinda even, and then I say that as I look at the junglers, that is a big CS diff between those two. Hecarim doing a really good job farming. Hecarim is level 6 and Vi is still only 4.
Yeah, love this dive attempt here, and it's going to be unbelievably simple and clean up in the top lane. Love to see that one coming through onto the Gnar. He actually uses his ult a little bit too early for that play, and it just makes it so easy for the rest of this Hecarim, the Silas, to come in and clean up that kill. No defenses are left on that Gnar, especially because his flash is unavailable. And easy peasy for the dogs. We'll see what else they can manage to get done in this game, but already having a lead on a scaling composition, making it unbelievably difficult for Degenerates to play the game.
Yeah, and as we did see in the top lane gank, we saw Silas steal Gnar's ultimate and then slam him into the tower with said ultimate. So one thing we didn't talk about during draft select, because we were too busy talking about how League is better than Valorant. Haha, got him. What ults is Silas looking to steal here off of Degenerates?
Anything that isn't Heimerdinger, I think is good. I think all of those are pretty solid. The one that's like the big moneymaker, though, is going to be that Alistar ultimate. I think it's unbelievably broken on the Silas because you just become so dang tanky, and of course you get that lifesteal as well. Makes it very annoying to play into. Now we also see Alistar looking for the play. Step up a little bit too far. Here they go. They want to try to make something happen. Gets a knockback on to the Nasus there. Nasus is going to be just fine for now. It's now Pog player stepping up a little bit too far. Could get punished for it here. Here comes the Vi, the flash from Pog player as well. Trading their summoner spell so far. But here comes the Heimerdinger. A beautiful stun on the Pog player. They will take him down. The Alistar, unfortunately, going to be the one who confirms the kill. But, you know, you're still pretty happy with how that goes, as long as you can deny some of that CS as well when everything is said and done.
Yep, and as we do take a quick look around, I do have to remember that Nasus is the one collecting the CS, because I was a little concerned to see a 56-2 CS difference for just a moment there, but Nasus is actually currently winning the CS race in the bot lane. Aatrox looking pretty good. Honestly, besides the mid lane, all of Dorado is looking really good in terms of CS.
Yeah, and of course you do expect the Silas to have a little bit more problem CSing because the Heimerdinger is going to outrange him a good bit. We could see maybe some ganks coming through shortly. More likely to see this Rift Herald go down in favor of the dogs. They have moved their Senna up already, as now the Aatrox is going to try to 1v1 this Gnar, who has already ulted. That's going to be a very difficult situation, as yes, the 1v1, the solo bolo, or sorry, actually, Hecarim does go ahead and help him. That's going to be how that one ends for the Gnar. Have that kill stolen away from him. I think Aatrox easily could have taken that one on himself, as now Hecarim wants to continue the fight, wants to go in here. He's going to get knocked back under the tower, uses his ult to escape danger. Meanwhile, Nasus is continuing to stack up in the bot lane.
Yeah, really good disengage from the Heimer there so he wouldn't get killed under tower. Doing a really good job there, as Dorado does currently take the lead 4-2 with a 3,000 gold lead. And Ocean Drag will be up in just about 40 seconds.
Yep. Ocean Dragon being up soon is going to be the next target of both of these teams. With the Senna backing, there is a short amount of time that you could use to go ahead and contest this if you are Degenerates, but with your Vi not really in position to go ahead and do so, not really going to be allowed. You could at least get some vision, though, if you are the Alistar, and that's going to be exactly what he does. However, cannot back in time to go ahead and refill his wards should the vision come back, as we are going to see the perspective of the blue side. Dorado Gaming Sigma is waiting for the Alistar to try to make something happen onto the Orion, but he will be just fine for now, stacking up in the bottom lane.
Yeah, but definitely will be interesting to see what happens here, as we do see a lot of Dorado floating down towards this dragon, because dragon has spawned, and this is should be a free dragon for them.
Yeah, should be relatively easy for them to secure, as now the Nasus is half HP, so maybe Degenerates could walk up here, but they're, not so confident in doing so, especially because it could turn into a 4v3 very easily. The Heimerdinger wasn't really in position to do anything about it. So Dorado Gaming Sigma go ahead and secure the second dragon of the game there first.
Yep, and definitely Dorado is looking a lot cleaner since, I definitely want to say start of the game. It is still early. This game could honestly go either way at the moment. So honestly, what is the current team's win conditions? What are they looking to overextend with at this point?
So at this point, Dorado Gaming Sigma just wants to scale. They really want to scale with this Nasus. They're also trying to play to get as much money in the pockets of the Aatrox, and it looked like he's actually snowballing really hard. But, that backup plan, if the Aatrox isn't able to take over the game, is you do have this bot lane that is getting taken down, and that's what I was going to say that the Exiles need to do. They need to be able to shut down this bot lane. Since they're not able to get anything done on the top side of the map, you need to at least find some wins in the bot side, make sure that your Kai'Sa can scale faster than the enemy Senna, so that you do have at least something to combat this Aatrox later on.
Yeah, Vi is currently running through the Hecarim's red side jungle, seeing if there's any free camps to take, doesn't find any, but definitely a good play on the Vi's part to actually just go in and take a look.
Yeah, for sure. As now we're going to see Nasus, continue to stack up. That's going to be a nice W to try to, buy himself some time. As now here's Senna going to go ahead and, collect some souls there. As the Alistar just wants to try to maintain as much vision control as possible.
Yep, Nessus does go ahead and spend some of that nice money he has been collecting. Silas in a bit of a dangerous position here, but oh no, this is not a day for Heimer.
No, it actually looks like a pretty good day, all things said and done. The ultimate's going to come through from that Silas to make himself nigh unkillable. And speaking of unkillable, here is the Aatrox, as he is just unbelievably fed, helping his team secure that fight, and does so with style. We're going to be able to kill just about everybody involved in that one. It looked actually a little grief there for a second from Rogue, but when everything was said and done, because they have that mean man in the top lane, that Aatrox, who is going to start trying to run down the Gnar. Gnar's going to go ahead and hop away, though. Should be able to get away from this one for now. Meanwhile, Orion's going to collect himself a free tower plate and just walk away from Coldbox, being A-okay.
Yeah, I didn't quite realize just how fed this Aatrox was until I actually looked at the top lane and noticed that tier 2 tower is not looking too great in health. And we're not even 15 minutes in.
Yeah, it's not a great time for the side of the Degenerates with that gold lead. Is now up. Orion wants to go ahead and just run down Coldbox. The ultimate comes through from Coldbox to try to get himself out of this one, but here comes the Vi. This could be a play. A teleport is going to come through. He flashes on Coldbox, takes him down, as he will try to get the kill on to the Vi. Aatrox is going to be the one who ends up taking that one down. Pleb Destroyer here to destroy the Aatrox, who is no pleb, but makes him look like one. In fact, the shutdown is unfortunately once again going to go to that Alistar, who has half of the team's kills. Not what you want to see, but it's better than nothing at the end of the day.
Yeah, at the end of the day, a lot of people get upset whenever their supports take the kills, but the way I see it, look, the kill was confirmed, and that's what matters.
Very true. Take him off the map for now, but the question is, what can you really do with him being off the map? And we will have to see. The Silas wants to try to find the play onto the Gnar. It looks like they're playing leapfrog for a little bit there, as he wants to continue his game and just keeps on jumping in. And Silas is just barely going to win that one, as we see the Silas and Gnar just smashing their heads together until Silas is the one who comes out the victor.
Those are always kind of the fun fights to even participate in, is where you both just kind of mutually agree you're not moving, you're just going to swing on each other, allow every skill shot to hit, just to see, like, who's the better player.
Yeah, it maybe not the better player in that situation, but who has the stronger champion? And it does seem to be the Silas whose champion was stronger at that point in time. The KDAs also reflected that. The gold probably reflected that as well. As you see, Gnar is about 30 CS down on his lane opponent. He was 20 CS down on the Silas at the time of that, or around the time of that. So, not a fun situation for the Gnar to try to compete in.
Yep, but I have to agree with you there, as we do have the Infernal Dragon spawning up just right about now, so it is going to be interesting to see if Degenerates are even going to attempt to contest this or not.
We'll see if they can. Silas is going to catch out the Kaisa. Kaisa's going to ult over the wall. Pretty good play from her, but they are chasing after her. Even still, Cleanse is going to not be effective. Yes, it gets rid of the CC, but there was so much more damage coming through as well. The Alistar trying to live with that ultimate is living for a long time, but it doesn't matter because Hecarim's able to easily confirm that double kill for himself. Now, the third dragon of the game, the second dragon for the dogs, is on the table and will be easily secured. Sovereign trying to run for the hills. It's in a terrible spot here as now Aatrox wants to run him down. Orion not really going to be able to get that wither off as the knockups will not come through. But maybe if the Heimerdinger walks up a bit too far, uses that turret to give himself a little bit of space there, as the Gnar wants to try to chase down. The Silas has that Mega Form, will be able to get the ult off into the wall, but will he be able to do anything more than that? No, Aatrox is easily going to take him down. He just gets way too overzealous, and the dogs punish him easily because of it.
Yeah, Dorado looking very clean in that fight, and once again, Degenerate has gotten to 4 kills, and Dogs is starting to rack up more unanswered kills, and oh, this is not where you want to be, Kaisa.
Yeah, but Kaisa should be able to run on out of there. Will be just fine for now. As meanwhile, will the rest of the team be able to do anything once they're up? I don't really think you can contest anything. I mean, just look at how strong this Aatrox is right now, 5-2-2. Your Hecarim is 4-0-2. Your bot lane's really the only one that's slacking really hard right now, but even then, they're not doing terrible by any means. I mean, they're playing just fine. As I am rather worried about how the rest of this game might go for the Degenerates because, you know, you look at how their composition is supposed to go. We talked about this last game as well. They have a backline diving team composition. They scale a little bit better in this game, but still the rest of the team has a very difficult time doing anything, especially when there's a Nasus running them down, but he might be griefing this one just a little bit. Maybe Colbox can get the kill. He's not able to do so. Hecarim is just going to run him down. He's going to go down, unfortunately. Now Hecarim going to try to find a little bit more with the Senna. Senna's going to help him out just a bit, as now here comes the Silas with that Gnar ultimate. They are going to pick out the Alistar. Alistar is going to go down. The ultimate cannot save him. Aatrox in the bot lane going to go ahead and, you know, fight and match this Heimerdinger. Rather, Heimerdinger should be matching him, but realizes his team needs him, will be leaving that bot lane tower to go down. Maybe we can find something here, as that's going to be the knockup canceled. Has to flash over the wall instead, as unfortunately the Vi does survive, but at what cost? And the answer is going to be basically her entire jungle. Fortunately, I don't know if we've lost Kongman, or if Kongman got, maybe his internet went out for just a second, but either way, there is a fight brewing up, as now the Aatrox is going to try to fight back. Pog player is going to get very low, maybe actually taken out of this fight. Ratchet is going to secure that kill onto the Alistar. Now Aatrox is going to try to look for the dive into the tower. Sweet spots are not hitting, though, unfortunately, so now they're going to have to try to back off. Now, the Gnar is going to start chasing him down, trying to do something. Here comes the Onslaught of Shadows, going to help find a kill onto the Gnar. Now, maybe the Aatrox can get a little bit more than that, but it looks like the Gnar is going to be the only one who goes down. Nice knockup from the Aatrox. The Vi is going to look to go in. It's just going to go over the wall, though, instead. Does get spotted out, so all of a sudden, maybe taking the ward would be a little bit greedy. They know she's on the flank. They know she's there, but Aatrox is just going to go forward, find the kill. Here comes the Vi. Vi can only do so much. Does lock down that. Aatrox finds the shutdown there, but the Hecarim keeps going forward. Double kill for him. Now, the Kaisa trying to kite back and finds a kill. Finally able to get some extra gold. Actually, never mind. It's once again Alistar taking a shutdown. He is 3 and 4. So many kills in the support's pockets.
Yeah, Alistar doing a really good job here, picking up these kills, which, as we stated earlier, that's not exactly where you want those kills to go. But all in all, at least you're getting the shutdown gold, so maybe this Alistar could potentially be the new carry for your team.
Yeah, that could be an interesting one. Just start building some AP. I agree. Fun fact in
It's
Earth
Earth.
that is unbelievably fun. Since Earth is back, by the way, I can start telling everybody some awful ideas that are really fun to go for. Highly recommend AP Nautilus. It's broken.
Okay.
It's disgusting. It does a lot of damage for no reason. But you're also absolutely awful to deal with because you can't just go regular AP Nautilus. You don't like build like burst Nautilus. You go like attack speed Nautilus. Now it sounds awful because you can only root people ever so. Hold on just a second, as we do see Nasus is running down the Vi there, but Vi will be just fine. As I was saying, going attack speed Nautilus, the attacks go really fast, and the reason that you might be like, but he can only root every like few seconds. Now what you're forgetting is his W gives some extra damage on his auto attacks. And so you actually hit unbelievably hard. And guess what that scales with? That's right, scales with AP. So you become a machine gun anchor man. And it's disgusting. It's actually terrible to deal with.
Now, every time I get to play Earth, as long as it's not banned away, I like to be that guy who picks Karthus. Because a lot of people are like, oh, no cooldown on Q, infinite mana. No. You play Karthus how you normally do. You just keep playing jungle. Because no one else picks jungle in Earth. So you get every camp for free. You scale super fast past everyone else. And then suddenly you just sit in jungle and you go R. Oh, well, look, they're all dead.
Yep, Ring off cooldown. Very smart. I heard off-tank Evelyn with Conqueror from our producer. Now, let's talk about some other fun things instead. Maokai. Maokai's pretty good. Love Maokai's already broken. Now imagine him in Earth, he's even worse. As now the Silas is going to go ahead and use the Vi ultimate to kill the Vi. Vi should go down. Nar is here to try to make something happen, but the question is it going to make anything happen, or is he just going to die? He is going to get rooted up here. They might even go for the kill. A lot of damage coming through, but it's just not enough. The Heimerdinger is here to try to find the kills, as that's going to be the stopwatch coming through, as that's going to be Alistar in a very bad spot because of that blast cone. The question is, will he go down very low? They're all going over the wall just for poor Alistar. There's going to be the ultimate from the Kai'Sa to get herself out, but it's not going to work. She's going to get taken out by the Senna. At this point, you got to imagine that the Exiles have no chance in hell of winning this one. The Dogs are running it in, taking down the inhibitor. Maybe they'll be able to take down these Nexus Towers as well in the next coming minute. I'm going to go ahead and get that top tower, get that top inhibitor as well. Teleport is coming through from the Orion, the big boy. Or sorry, never mind. That was actually the Silas. I wasn't paying attention. My bad. So many teleports on this team. It's hard to keep track of all of them. As now, one Nexus Tower is going to go down. They're diving everybody as well. Nar's going to fall. Maybe they'll get the next Nexus Tower before another kill comes through. Or maybe not. Maybe Alistar just wants to go in, feel alive before he feels dead. Will finally fall. As now, Kai'Sa trying to force everybody away. Does flash for that Q, gets that damage, but guess what happens? She gets withered, has to cleanse that one away. Gonna take so much damage. Here comes the Heimerdinger to try to mount a defense as well, but it's just not enough. He doesn't have the damage. He has the stun, but it just ain't cutting it. And that will be the Nexus going down. That will be Dorado Gaming Sigma securing the dub here. 2-0 in the series against the Exiles.
It is going to be a quick 2-0 for Dorado. Is the second game to finish currently in the VRS, so unfortunately I don't have any updates on how Mint is doing to see where Dorado would finish. But Dorado is looking pretty good at potentially claiming that first seed.
Yeah, I gotta say, if they don't, secure the first seed, based on any of the tiebreakers, I think they deserve it after their performance in these two games here. I mean, they were just absolutely dominant. There was, a bit of a struggle for the bot lane to get going in game number 2, but I think that was more or less the nature of their champions. I don't think they were ever really there to play the I'm gonna kill everybody game. That was more so the job of the top half of the map, and they played it and executed it perfectly. The bot lane was more of their contingency plan. I mean, you could see the infinite scaling on the Nasus, on the Senna. So if they weren't going to get shut down in the early game, they were always going to be useful going into the mid to late game. So not a fun time for the side of the Exiles to deal with, and especially when you lose so hard on the top side of the map, it just allows the Aatrox and Hackram, the Silos, to do whatever they want, and that's exactly what they did in game number 2.
Definitely have to agree with you there. As we see the stats, Aatrox almost 18,000 damage, but Heimerdinger did have the most damage that game. As hello, we are now back on the desk. Welcome, Dodge. Oh no, back to the stats. Heimerdinger did have the most damage overall in the whole game, and Dodge just really wanted to appear for us momentarily. See, there he is again.
We were done. I thought we were done with the post game. My apologies.
Oh,
no,
okay.
But yeah, the Heimerdinger did a lot of damage. Wasn't enough to prevent the dogs from coming out, going into their Sigma male grind set. Easy 2-0 for him. MVP poll is out in the chat. That way, I always figure it takes me a while to figure it out with the camera. What can I say? Directionality, not necessarily my thing. But yeah, make sure to make your voice heard. Vote in that MVP poll. Gentlemen, as per usual, I'll open up the post show by asking you, who was your player of the series here for Dorado Gaming Sigma tonight?
I think it's pretty easy, but I want to hear what Conman has to say first.
On the spot, Kong.
Listen, I know you want to throw it to me because you probably already know who I'm voting for, and I already put in my vote, which is really weird because, as you know, I hate most ADC players, but yet I'm throwing my MVP vote to the ADC Pog player. I've absolutely carried with the Kaisa, which really helped carry that momentum into game number 2. Shogun, I see you giving me that little smirk, as if you know I picked the wrong person.
No,
I'll be saying here in a moment, because I'm sure you're gonna be like, oh, it's Orion picking the support Nasus Scoper, run you down, smack you. So Shogun, why am I wrong with Pog player?
I was actually unbelievably surprised that you were correct and picking the ADC. I was like, whoa, this guy like very rarely picks ADCs, but this is like a very rare time that you are in fact correct about the player of the game, the player of the series, which is
that's messed up, man.
Hey, Dodge. Hey, Dodge. I want you to be the man of reason here. How can someone be wrong over an opinion-based question?
Because some opinions are just more correct than others, and my opinions are the most correct.
There you go. Dodge gets it.
Now, my assessment of the player of the series, I really had a hard time figuring this one out. For me, it was between Rogue and Orion, and Dodge is the jungler and the support for MVP is so boring. The only thing more boring is picking the mid laner. First of all, I'm biased. If this is the Orion I think it is, who I cast with over on Nameless, he's my buddy, and I thought his Leona was very underrated in Game 1, and I thought his Nasus was especially strong in Game 2. I feel like a lot of the engages were actually really dependent on the Leona hitting Solarflare. I don't recall him missing a single one in Game 1, so definitely a big performance there. And then Rogue, even though he's building Hecarim wrong, let me be clear about that. Divine Sunder is wrong. It is not how you build Hecarim. I mean, the guy was...
How do you build Hecarim? How do you build...
You build
on Hecarim?
You can build Eclipse, you can build Trinity Force, you can build Chemtank and Yumu's, but you do not build Sunderer.
That's incorrect as well.
Lowest win rate mythic on him. Bad. Very bad. No Sunderer.
No, Eclipse bad. Eclipse bad.
Do you know
bad?
Do you know
you can't play
good his AD scaling is, man?
You know Eclipse got changed, right? So now Eclipse is like, no.
Oh, that sucks. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, Eclipse bad now.
Okay,
it was really broken on him. But like,
still, don't build Sunder. Build Trinity Force. Build an attack damage item. Build Chemtank and Youngos. Build Manamune. Don't freaking heckin' build Sunder. It's int. But Rogue was all over the map, man. He was onslaught of shadowing, from the Raptor Pit into Heimerdinger's face, from Wraiths to chickens all about the place. I mean, he was coming out of my fridge when I went upstairs to get a coffee and left the stream on autopilot. I mean, Rogue was all over the place. Pog player is the easy choice, though, and it looks like Pog player is winning the poll. Very little time left to make a difference. There is up by 3 votes over Rogue and Orion, which were my secondary choices, so it's looking like it's going to be a bit of a diffy in the 80 Siffy? Kiffy? Would it be a hard C, soft C for 80 carry? I guess it would be an 80 Kiffy. The Biffy? A Diffy and the Biffy. The bot lane. That one works.
Roger,
Yeah.
you having a stroke?
You know what, Kongman? I am addicted to caffeine, and there's a boil water
Oh, okay.
advisory in my town right now, so I can't make my cold brew. Because you don't boil cold brew, you let it long steep. So instead of having homemade coffee, I went all day without coffee, and then finally broke down and ordered some this giant 24-ounce coffee from a reputable coffee dealer. I don't want to be putting branding.
I don't know.
out on
I've never
stream.
seen that color cup ever. That's
Yeah.
wild.
And I've
That's
chugged like
wild.
half of this thing, and I'm kind of getting the coffee jitters. So that explains things. But you know who wasn't jittery? You know who had steady hands? You know who did exactly what they needed to do? It was PogPlayer winning the MVP. We will have a nice congratulatory screen for them in just a moment here. But Shogun, how about you explain to me? Because you said that's the correct choice. It should be PogPlayer.
Yes.
What was the differential here that made PogPlayer pop off so hard?
So, okay, the biggest thing that I have is he popped off really hard in game number 1,
Mhm.
and he went like, you look at like comparatively of how well everybody else did in game number 1 and 2, and no one even came close to his damage numbers, no one came close to his KDA, no one came close to his as dominant of a performance as he had in game number 1, and you also consider like take into account what was the effect that had on game number 2, right? Because usually you go by game basis, teams can kind of brush off all the bad things that happened in game number 1, or like you can kind of mentally reset. That clearly wasn't the case in game number 2, right? It seems like he absolutely ruined the other team's mental with his pick to the point where they even first picked Kaisa and had to take it away from him.
And it still didn't help.
No, it doesn't, right? Because then you also allow the other team, or Exiles, because they picked up their ADC so early, the Nautilus that they had in game number 1 was also taken away from them. You end up, with a composition that, is not as good. I feel like there were a lot of other champions that you could have picked, but you also somehow allow the Hecarim to go through, right? Because in your eyes, you have to leave both Hecarim and the Kaisa open so you can take the other one that the enemy team does not pick with B1. Maybe you can risk it and not ban the Graves or Swain, and then the other team picks it up, and you still have to pick the Kaisa, right, to take it away from the other team. But you also look at just the gameplay of even game number 2 here, and even though this is more of like that supportive style that the Senna was playing, that's all he really needed to do this game, and all he needed to do was absorb pressure. He did a good job of that. If he had like 6-7 deaths, it would have been a huge problem, but limiting that to 3 means that I think PogPlayer did his job more than okay, more than well.
Very nice, very nice. As gentlemen, I would like to issue a correction. I am sorry.
Oh boy.
This is why you don't just parrot what you're told by pro players and analysts. I mean, granted, this could still be true for coordinated play, but in solo queue, Sunder actually is his highest win rate item. It was not for a long time. I thought easy peasy. It's a rogue diff. Why did I try to lecture the horseman himself? But yeah, that's interesting because I have not seen anybody do anything but crap all over the Sunder build for weeks since Hecarim got put back into the meta. I'm talking professional junglers on my feed saying, why is everybody building Sunder? This is wrong. And I mean, 55% win rate in Plat Plus. He is otherwise a D-tier jungler, 49% win rate in Plat Plus when you're not going the highest win rate build. That is, that's a bit wild.
You have to build him a little tankier. Yeah, because the changes made him you need to build him a little bit tankier so he has that survivability. I think going Eclipse is really bad now ever since the 12.18 changes. He just feels unplayable with that build, but the Sunderer build feels really good. I haven't tried the other builds though. I played a game of Hecarim. I won 16-1 and 15 or something. It just absolutely smacked everybody around with the Sunderer build, and I don't know, felt pretty good to me. So.
UGG suggests Sunder into Man Immune and then either Death Stance or Black Cleaver as a follow-up.
Yeah.
And that looks good. And you know what else looks good, gentlemen? Is Dorado Gaming Sigma going into playoffs. They have made it. They are at least guaranteed a second seed spot, depending on the results that go down tonight. Actually, Kongman, have you had a chance to check the head-to-head between Mint and Dogs? Because it's possible they've actually locked themselves up the first seed here, depending on that. I will take a look.
Yes, that is what I am pulling up right now. I forgot to actually look at Dorado and Mint. So Dorado actually beat Mint 2-0. So Dorado should, just off of that alone, clinch the first seed, so they will get the first round bye. So speaking of first round byes, for those of you who don't know, it will be the first place in each seed and then the next highest second seed among the all three groups. So
okay,
right
so
now
the best record of the second seeds gets the last bye?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Because there will be 4 byes, so there's only 3 divisions, unlike other seasons where we have 4 divisions. So right now, your people getting your byes is Dorado, Queen's Gambit, who is the only undefeated team at the moment, as we wait on the results of Rise of the Middle Sticks, which, who are they playing today? Rise of the Middle Sticks is playing Dorado, so this will be the determination of who will get the first seed in Group A. So Group A has a lot of heat going on right now for that first seed. So right now we're going to have one Dorado team with a first round bye, the Queen's Gambit, who seem to show up every stream and complain that they are not on stream. Despite that. So remember, guys, if you want to be on stream, you have to put in your match submission times earlier, not like last minute. That way we can plan ahead, scout you guys, be professional. So Rise of the Middle Six and Dorado Kappa are currently duking it out right now. I do not have any. There is a match history coming in. It is the Dorado winning. And then we do have TDG. They are in Group A beating out DER. So DER has basically been eliminated from playoffs at this point as the 7th seed DDG takes out the 4th seed DER. Very unfortunate way to end your season there.
Indeed, that's a bit of an oof moment.
Queen's Gambit in first seed of Group B did beat out War Legion in Game 3. Unfortunately, War Legion had to forfeit Game 1 to being late. So War Legion should still make playoffs because they are currently 3rd in their group, but it will be close depending on everyone. No, they have a 5-2 record. They should be fine. So looking at all this, right now your playoff teams are going to be Dorado Sigma, Queen's Gambit, Rise of the Middle Sticks, Dorado Kappa, Bing Chilling, the BCGT all the way back from week 2 that we casted, Mint, War Legion, and then it's going to be a toss-up between, in the last spot, CEO, Oblivion, who we watched them get dunked on, TMG, Tellaby, Degenerates have been eliminated, and potentially the Quacks.
Potentially the Quacks. The Quacks fighting for their lives. That's, prayers out for the Quacks here, but that is your Around the League playoff chances update from Kongman. Thank you very much, Mr. Kongman. And that will do it for us here tonight, guys. It was a quick 2-0, maybe even quicker than I was hoping, honestly. I like my free time, but would like to see Degenerates give us a little bit of drama, a little bit of pushback, but Dorado as an organization, we always see their teams do well. Sigma keeping up a nice tradition here and absolutely dominating tonight. Will be going into the playoffs as the first seed out of Group C. So, good stuff all around. Gentlemen, it was an absolute pleasure to work with you here tonight. To everybody at home, it was an absolute pleasure to have you watch us here tonight. Big shout-outs to the teams and all of y'all fans. Wonderful times are ahead of us. We have playoffs starting next week. It'll be here. Same place, but an hour earlier. 6:30 will be the beginning of the stream. 6:45 Eastern Time will be the pre-show. You don't want to miss it. Gonna be some exciting stuff. We'll think of some fun surprises for y'all. But until then, I've been Infinite Dodge. That is Shogun and Kongman. And this has been the VRS. See you guys next week. Until then, adios. Bye-bye.